Welcome back. I'm Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has in fact called for a united voice promoting peace and dialogue globally as the ongoing West Asia conflict disrupts trade, energy supply and affects the safety of millions of Indians in the Gulf. The PM informed that since the outbreak of the war, he's held multiple phone calls with leaders of the region and confirmed India's continuous engagement with all Gulf countries, Iran, Israel and the US. Perhaps the most telling indicator of the situation scale is the number of people returning. The Prime Minister said India is prioritizing the safety of its citizens during the West Asia conflict, noting that over 3,75,000 Indians have been safely evacuated so far, including more than 1,000 from Iran, while urging all sides to seek a peaceful resolution. PM Modi assured that in times of crisis, the safety of Indians both in the country and abroad is our top priority. The effort, coordinated by the Ministry of External Affairs along with Indian missions in the region, has been ongoing and intensive. Embassies and consulates continue to operate helplines around the clock, assisting students, workers and short-term travelers. The approach has been both logistical and humanitarian, ensuring not just transport but also documentation, local coordination and on-ground support where needed. Some breaking news now coming in this hour. Amidst boiling West Asia tensions, US President Donald Trump has spoken with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Both leaders have stressed the need to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. In a post on X, US Ambassador to India Sergio Gore has written, President Donald Trump just spoke with Prime Minister Modi. They discussed the ongoing situation in the Middle East, including the importance of keeping the Strait of Hormuz open, quote-unquote. Major General Anoj Mathur, defense expert, is joining us on this big story. Major General Mathur, President Trump and Prime Minister Modi speaking. They have discussed the conflict in the Middle East, the ongoing situation there, and the Strait of Hormuz as well.
Jai Hind Uday. This was expected. See, I've been saying this all the while, that India is the only nation which has maintained communications, not only good relations, but also direct communications with all players, be it Russia, be it US, be it Israel, be it Iran, European countries, Malaysia, all stakeholders India was in direct communication with. And this call was expected. Now the thing is very, very clear. America is genuinely looking for an off-ramp, and they are wanting, and that off-ramp possible is probably the control of the Strait of Hormuz, either entirely or maybe a shared control of the Strait of Hormuz is the only thing which will give Trump a notion of some kind of victory, and he can then go back from here with a face. Why he's spoken to Narendra Modi is because there is a probably a communication gap or a difference of opinion between Netanyahu and Trump. Now he knows that the Prime Minister Modi can probably talk to Netanyahu and may influence him. So that is one possible thing. But fact of the matter continues to remain, Uday, that world wants Strait of Hormuz open. America wants Strait of Hormuz open for their own reasons, and India will do what it takes to make sure that some diplomatic arrangement is made so that the Strait of Hormuz can be made available for international traffic. I said that yesterday also, I repeat it, Strait of Hormuz does not belong to Iran. And if they are trying to control it or choke it, this to my mind is against the international norms. However, the norms have been sidelined by many others, be it China in the South China Sea, where they had an issue with Philippines, or what America has done in the Caribbean with Venezuela. So, but the fact of the matter continues to remain that this is an international water stream, this is an international trade route which cannot be under the control of one country, and it has to be cleared. And probably Trump is looking at that. He talking to Narendra Modi is a great development, and probably it speaks of yet another so to say victory of our diplomatic status and standing. Uday.
Yes, indeed. Ambassador Sushil Shinghal, former diplomat, also with us now. Ambassador Shinghal, the Indian ambassador, the US ambassador to India, posting this update, confirming that this phone call has indeed happened. Also, putting out what has transpired during this phone call. What do you make of the wordings of this statement put out by Ambassador Gore? And what all was discussed in this phone conversation?
Well, it's an interesting development in my view. Uh, Clearly, the lines of communications are already open with the USA because our External Affairs Minister was talking to not only the Americans but also the Iranians and Israelis and Gulf countries. So the conversation from Indian side has been going on, and I think when the President Trump has called Prime Minister, he has, I think, realized that India need to be roped in, briefed into what is going on, and because the so many countries' name is coming in the conversation. Because President Trump is the moment, as we all know, is looking for the closer and often on his own conditions. So he will try to rope in as many interlocutors as possible into this conversation. And Americans are well aware of Indian position. That is, one, that we want peace. That's how and discussion, because we have always been advocate of the fact that war is not a solution. It's always the conversations can only solve the problems anywhere, in any conflict. That has been our view, and same has been applied on the in this Iran, Israel, and US conflict. That's a message which has been conveyed by us. And in this situation, the role of India, as I repeating myself here, is very important. Our neighbor Pakistan, of course, is jumping up and down, trying to be the important player in this. But in the silent player is in this all, at efforts to start the negotiations. Let me use this word. Has been the Egypt, which now they have not given out any statement as far as I know, but they are the one who are, I believe, the responsible for this 5 day reprieve, can use the term by the President Trump, that he'll not attack the electricity installations in Iran. And of course, the messages are going through and forth, both sides through intermediaries. But the Iranians are trying to take advantage here, and but very carefully worded ones. They are saying that negotiations are not going on. They're not talking about the communication which are being set up to and forth. So there are certainly communications, because now the indications are coming from Iranian side also, and they are putting out conditions again. Of course, the Israelis, Netanyahu was also, indirectly confirmed that the discussion is going on, because he put out his own conditions for the getting the things on road. At the same time, of course, he's saying that the President Trump is a deal maker. He's a very good negotiator. So, Israeli side is also, putting things in perspective, and of course, without offending President Trump. But on the ground, the situation remains what it is. That is, both sides are attacking each other. So, on the ground, I think the things are what it was.
Absolutely.
Attack on both sides.
Yes.
But
yes.
a window for the negotiations
Yes.
have been opened.
Yes.
That's
and of course, in the